Welcome to everybody who's joining. Thank you for being here. Hello to Croatia. Anyone who's recently joined, please type in the chat where you're joining from. If you're joining from an organization, let us know which one. And do answer the poll question. Let us know how you're feeling. We have 76% of people feeling curious so far, so that's great because we have lots of things to share with you. Hello to Scotland and Croatia. And we have a lot of people with a background working with healthcare clowns. That's great to see. And also a lot of people experience working with neurodiverse audiences and arts for well-being. Great. Hello to Norway. So we're going to give it a few more minutes for people to join. Keep letting us know where you're joining from in the chat. Answer the questions. Hello to Denmark. So we'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll share our agenda with you for the day. Hello to Morocco. Thanks for joining. Craig. Welcome to everyone who's joining. It's great to have so many of you here. Do let us know where you're joining from in the chat. And if you're an attendee, we are aware that you're here, but don't worry about us seeing your video. This is just for the panelists, but we can see how many people are joining, and it's great to have such a diverse international crowd here with us today. We still have most people feeling very curious for the meeting. Only 15% of people are feeling fabulous. Such a shame. And some people are feeling tired. That's fair enough. It's Thursday. We're nearly there, nearly through the week. Welcome to everyone who's just joined. Great to have you. So I'll end the poll soon. So you have 1 or 2 more minutes to let us know how you're feeling and to let us know about your working background. Do you have experience with healthcare clowning, neurodiverse audiences, or arts for well-being? Do choose an option and let us know so we know who we're talking with today. Welcome to everyone who's just joined. If you haven't done so yet, let us know where you're joining from in the chat. Hello, Red Noses International in Vienna. Thanks for joining. And also Red Noses Austria. Great to see you guys here. Okay, I'm going to end the poll shortly and then give everybody an overview of our agenda for the day. So more and more people are feeling curious. Now we're at 67%. That's great. And 85% have experience working with healthcare clowns. Amazing. Hello, Barcelona and Payapupas. Okay, so I'm getting ready to end the poll now. So quickly get those votes in if you haven't done so already. And it's ended. So I can reveal to everyone that we've got 24% of people feeling fabulous here in the meeting today, 66% feeling curious, and 16% feeling a little tired. It's okay, we understand you. And for the experience that we're all coming from, we have 84% of people having experience with healthcare clowning, 28% of people having a background with neurodiverse audiences, and 50% of experience with arts and well-being. That's great to hear. So Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I'm sure we'll have people keep coming in throughout the meeting, but I'll introduce myself before we get going. So my name is Molly. I'm the Content and Communications Manager at Red Noses International here in Vienna. And yeah, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to everybody joining today. This is a very exciting event for us. This is the ClownNexus final results presentation. So thank you to everyone once again for joining from all over the world. I can see we've got people in Brussels, the US, Hungary, Scotland, Barcelona. So we're a very international crowd today. So that's great to hear. Just a bit of background. If you've recently joined us, you'll be an attendee for this webinar. We can't see your video or hear your audio, but that's intentional. We're aware that you're with us, and it's great to see how many of you are here. Please do keep typing in the chat throughout the meeting. If you have any question or comment, we'll be monitoring it. And at the end, we'll be having a Q&A session. So you can use the chat function for that. So I will keep going into the agenda here. Bear with me. I have a lot of technical things to manage on my side. So as a brief disclaimer, we're having a webinar rather than a Zoom meeting for this event because we have so many people joining. So yeah, as I said, please continue to write in the chat so we can keep it alive and keep it interactive. Before we launch in, I'm sorry, my cat is getting involved. So I would like to first extend a thanks to all the management, the boards and the trustees of the different organizations that were involved in ClownNexus for putting the trust in us to take part in this project. We're very happy that some of them are also present with us here today. And from our side, we'd like to extend a big thank you to the board members of Red Noses Board of Trustees and our executive management. So just as another disclaimer, this webinar will be recorded. I believe that everybody was made aware when they joined the meeting, but I just wanted to remind you. So I will give a little overview of the agenda before we get going. So of course, we've just had our welcome from yours truly, and then we'll launch into a presentation of the ClownNexus project where we'll get a bit of an overview of how everything went down. Then we'll go on to a presentation and evaluation and research results. Then we'll have a very interesting and engaging panel discussion with some people who were involved in the project. And then following on, we'll have a Q&A session where you're all invited to submit your questions, and then the people who were involved in the panel will discuss them. And then we'll have a wrap-up session and just reflect on everything that we learned together. As I said, keep putting your comments in the chat. We love to hear from you. So we are all ears and eyes throughout the meeting. So let's dive right in. So I'd love to welcome Carmen, who's going to give us an overview of the frame of the ClownNexus project. So a bit of background about Carmen. Carmen is a program and advocacy manager at Red Noses International. She's my lovely colleague here in Vienna. So she was a part of the team and the project coordinator, and she co-led the ClownNexus project. So Carmen's going to join me and she'll give us all an overview of the general frame of ClownNexus. So Carmen, are you with me? Fabulous, I see you.
Yes.
Very
Hi.
good. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
So I'll turn off my video and then the stage is yours, Carmen.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. And yeah, as Molly mentioned, I will be happy to give you some information on the general frame of our project. So for this, I will share my presentation. And I hope you can all see it now. So our project, called ClownNexus, or short ClownNexus, is or was, because it ended already, a large-scale cooperation project, which was co-funded by the Creative Europe program of the European Union. And our project, oh, you don't see my presentation, apparently. I will try again. Does it work now?
Yes, now it's there, Carmen.
Good. Okay. So, yeah, and our project was about finding connections to humor and arts and the art of healthcare clowning with neurodiverse audiences. And the partners of this project, so when I speak about us and our results, I will tell you a little bit who we were. So on the one hand, Red Noses International was the project coordinator of the project. And then we had 7 more partner organizations, which were from Austria, Rote Nasen, from Croatia, Červeni nosovi, from Finland, Sairaalaklovnit, from Hungary, Piros Or, from Lithuania, Rhodonosnosis, from the Netherlands, the Cliniclowns, and from Spain, Payapupas. And we also had an associate partner, which some of you may know, which was EFCO, the European Federation of Healthcare Clown Organizations. And the project ran for 3 years, so from November 22 to October 23. The partners, we chose them because we wanted to have a balance of, or a diversity of European regions and cultural backgrounds reflected. We also were looking for diverse levels of experience and expertise in working with the audiences that we chose to work with in this project. And with this, we wanted to ensure that the developed approaches would be, in the end, adaptable and usable to different care and social settings. The core local teams consisted of 4 artists per country and 1 project manager. And what I also would like to mention is that when we talk about the results of this project, it's important for us that they are not only the results of the partner consortium of this project, but we collaborated with a lot of social experts, artists from other fields, and other healthcare clowning organizations and clown teachers, who also have a lot of expertise in working with the audiences of the project. We couldn't even reach out to everyone who would have expertise on the topics in the frame of this project, because there are a lot of exciting projects and initiatives out there. But yeah, this project, just to say that it didn't happen in a void, and we feel, or we want to see the results of our project as part of bigger initiatives and developments. And we are excited that with our experiences that we made in this project, we hopefully can contribute to this. A bit more about the audiences that we worked with. So as mentioned, we worked with neurodiverse audiences, 2 of them specifically. So on the one hand, we engaged with persons with dementia, and on the other hand, with children with autism. And for both of them, we also wanted to engage with the whole environments. So with carers, family members, everybody that is important for their setting and well-being. These 2 audiences, we chose them because our partner organizations were already meeting some of these audiences in their regular work. So for example, working in older people residencies, the clowns were also meeting persons with dementia, and while working with children with disabilities or in the hospitals, the artists were also meeting children with autism. But they were thinking that they would really like to know more, to have more knowledge about these conditions, and to therefore also be able to develop their approaches to have a better impact. And the target groups, what we learned is that they often have little access to participatory artistic activities. They often experience isolation and have difficulties to communicate and to engage in social interactions, or also to express their needs and wishes, which then in turn can lead to anxiety, sadness, or agitation. At the same time, they are just like any of us, interested in connecting, in having fun, in connecting with others and expressing themselves. So here we thought that healthcare clowning can really be effective because it's particularly useful to create connections, and by focusing on the individual and using multiple artistic approaches, clowns often manage to really overcome these communication barriers and make these connections. We worked with the audiences in different settings, depending on the countries. With persons with dementia, the artists met them always in residencies for older persons. With children with autism, we work with them in hospitals, but also in school settings. And throughout all this work, because these are vulnerable audiences as well, it was very important for us to make sure that they are safe. We had safeguarding in place, and also to educate ourselves, for example, on topics like using sensitive language. And I can say that this is an ongoing learning. So, Now shortly about the objectives of our project. So on the one hand, we wanted to improve the well-being of the audiences we worked with, and also contribute to their social inclusion. And for this, we wanted to develop new artistic approaches that are tailored to their needs and provide also more access to participatory and interactive artistic interventions. To do this well, we also knew that we really wanted and needed to engage in co-creation and collaboration. So engaging in co-creation with the target groups and their environments. First, we needed to improve our skills to do so. But it was a really important process, because only by engaging in co-creation, we could ensure that we reflect the needs, wishes, talents, and voices of everybody involved, and therefore making our activities more relevant to people and contexts. Collaborating and exchanging was also an important part of the project. So there was the international exchange between 8 European organizations, international artists, as well as experts. And another focus of the project was to also strengthen the partnerships between the healthcare clowning organizations involved and the institutional partners we worked with, so from social or educational settings. And as a third goal, we wanted to also focus on learning and using new evaluation methods that fit to our work as artistic organizations, and that also involve participants of the project wherever appropriate. Then, based on these learnings, we wanted to increase awareness for the impact of arts and humor on health and well-being. And here especially, we also worked a lot with other initiatives on this topic on the EU level, but also on the global level. Yeah. And finally, I want to give you an overview of the main activities of our project. Later on, you will hear more about some of them in depth. So I will just give you like a broad overview of the things that happened. On the one hand, we had the international meetings. So these included, for example, the kickoff meeting and the closing meeting in Vienna. And our Dutch partner, the Cliniclowns, also hosted the Healthcare Clowning International, HCIM, conference in Den Haag. And here really a lot of people from all over the world came together for 3 days. There were like up to 300 participants per day discussing how healthcare clowning can be better integrated into healthcare systems, but also the social and educational settings that were in the focus of the ClownNexus project. The heart of the artistic process, and you will hear more about this later, were the artistic laboratories. We had 2 working groups. One working group on engaging with people with dementia, and another working group on engaging with children with autism. Each working group consisted of 2 to 3 artists per partner. And we invited a lot of experts to share and exchange and learn with us there. The working group on dementia had laboratories in Hungary, Spain, and Austria, and the working group on autism in Finland, Lithuania, and Croatia. Then locally, the core of the project were the artistic activities, the regular artistic interactions with children with autism and people with dementia. And throughout the project, partners from 6 countries engaged with these target groups on a regular basis. And in total, they reached approximately 3,000 persons with dementia and 2,000 children with autism, which I think is really remarkable, especially because also part of the project happened during Corona, when Corona was still a bigger topic. So it was a bit of a challenge in the beginning to reach those audiences. But our partner organizations and artists were luckily very creative. And so they always found a way to engage and still keep the safety of our target groups as an utmost priority. So, for example, they would engage in activities outside in front of videos, or have, for example, pen friendships between people with dementia and clown artists. So, or they also did online artistic interventions. So through a variety of ways they engage with them. And then luckily, towards the middle of the project, end of the project, things went more back to normal, and we could reach our audiences live. Yes. Then the learning activities I mentioned already before. They were ongoing throughout the project in bigger and smaller ways. 2 important milestones were the baseline study at the beginning of the project, and then the endline evaluation at the end of the project. Both were done by external evaluators. And the baseline study was done so that we would know where we stand at the beginning of the project, and then we would have a basis for comparison at the end of the project, so that we could then really see what was our progress and development throughout the project. We also developed some creative learning tools and tested them. And some of the partners of the project also engaged in a research study, which you will hear more about later as well as of the endline evaluation results. Another component of the project was the quality assurance through artistic trainings and support. These were on the one hand trainings, for example, such as singing or engaging with music with people with dementia, or for example, using puppetry to connect to children with disabilities. We also provided supervision to artists, because working in sensitive environments, it's important to also care for their well-being. And there was peer sharing, which was very crucial in this project, because this meant that the core team of artists then went back home to their local partner organizations, and they're shared with the national teams, so that really the approaches developed could be then scaled out nationally. Last but not least, I'll mention awareness raising and advocacy. I already told you before that we really wanted to give also a space to raising awareness for the impact that art and culture can have on health, well-being, mental health, and doing this together with other organizations. So we had one awareness raising event in Brussels at the Lithuanian permanent representation, and together with Culture Action Europe, which was titled Culture and Mental Health Practices and Policies. And here we showed a film that we made during the project, which we think is a great way to also provide a feeling and images to the words. We also were invited to speak at the European Parliament at a seminar on culture as a driver for health and well-being in the EU. That was co-organized by the European Parliament and the European Commission. And additionally, we had all kinds of communication activities, also, for example, on World Days of Alzheimer, on World Day of Autism, to also raise awareness for the cultural rights of these target groups and their needs, but also talents and potential. Yeah, so I hope I could give you a good overview of what we did, so we can then now jump in.
Thank you so much, Carmen, for sharing, and hopefully everyone's got a nice overview of the clownexus project now. It's great to see so many of you from so many different locations in the chat, and as I said in the beginning, do keep letting us know where you're joining from and which organization. So now to dive a little bit deeper into the artistic processes of clownexus, I've prepared a visual aid for us. I'm going to show you a short video to set the mood and give an insight from the second artistic laboratory on engaging with persons with dementia. And this was hosted by Paya Pupas in Barcelona, in Spain. The video is in Spanish, but there are English subtitles, but it's a chance for us all to practice our Spanish. So I will share my screen and show the video to everybody. Do bear with me.
El proyecto de clownexus es un proyecto europeo de cooperación entre organizaciones artísticas del mundo del payaso en el hospital. Estamos en diferentes laboratorios artísticos, trabajando con expertos, trabajando con artistas de 6 diferentes países para ver qué conceptos, qué instrumentos podemos utilizar para generar más bienestar cuando trabajamos con estos grupos.
Hay una parte emocional, ¿no?, y sensitiva que creo que desde el acompañamiento del clown se incide directamente en ello, ¿no? Más a más cuando estamos hablando de personas con demencia, que sabemos que esta parte cognitiva, esta racionalidad está un poco más deteriorada, ¿no? Y en ocasiones está muy deteriorada, con lo cual el poder hacer una intervención que vaya a incidir sobre las emociones, cuando es lo que sabemos que dura hasta el final de la vida, tiene muchísimo sentido para trabajar con una persona con demencia. Según entran ya en la sala donde vayan a hacer el acompañamiento, el ambiente cambia, la gente conecta al momento. Cuánto valor esto que se genera, ¿no? Todo este material que es capaz de generar Paya Pupas y las conexiones que hace, ¿no? Y es desde esta expresión artística donde la persona al final conecta, donde la persona está y quiere participar y relacionarse.
El clownexus y el estar en contacto con otras compañías de trabajos de hospital y el tener una investigación más especializada en gente mayor con demencia enriquece mucho nuestro trabajo, nos brinda de muchas posibilidades, compartimos diferentes situaciones, diferentes contextos y nos proporciona además herramientas y poder entender también nuestro trabajo dentro del centro y sobre todo para hacerlo mejor.
Para las personas mayores con demencia, lo bonito es que a través del juego del clown, ¿no? A través del juego emocional del clown, las personas pueden conectar otra vez con el mundo, pueden expresar sus emociones y con ellas pueden jugar, ¿no? Y en el momento en que yo como payasa reconozco a la persona, le estoy dando esa personalidad que la enfermedad le ha quitado, ¿no? Realmente hay momentos súper especiales.
Really great to see the project in action there. So now I would love to introduce Tunda, who is the artistic director for Red Noses Hungary. And together with Christoph, who is the artistic director of Red Noses International, she was co-leading the artistic teams working in the Clownexus project and was responsible for the dementia topic. So we'll hear now from Tunda more about the artistic laboratories. Hello, Tunda.
Hello.
Hi, great to see you. So I will allow you to share your screen and I will disappear and let you take over.
Hello, everyone. A little summary about the artistic part and the artistic approach of the project. So in the Clownexus project, our main driving principles were on the project. It's this innovation and discover with co-creation, and also widen our perspective, our artistic perspective, and having an enriched artistic approach. And for us, like, it was a big step or a big change that instead of creating among us for ourselves, for the beneficiaries, it's co-creating, it's having a longer time and a bigger process for co-creating together with them. It was a new approach and it was a big journey for us together. Our base was the clown, the healthcare clowning. And in the very beginning, it was very clear for us that how it connects and why the connection is the main starting point during this work. So for the clowning, to understand that why it works perfectly, the few things were really crucial in the beginning. It's like the present, the strong present time of the clown. Also the connection, that it's very important that it starts with the connection from the clown side. The associative kind of logic that the clown has together with its playfulness. And also the musicality and the physicality of the clown, which really opens new ways in connection and in playing with artistic tools. Also with playing with emotion, it was very clear for the beginning that it's a very important part of this approach. And when we started to work together through the laboratories, we started to discover more detailed all these artistic tools, what we have or what we use. So in the laboratory structure, we worked together, the group who were working with the topic of dementia, and the other group is working with the topic of ESD. And we had 3 laboratories of each group. During the first laboratory, the main thing was the learning and understanding. So we had several lectures. We invited experts to learn more about dementia and more about ESD. And also in the artistic part, we needed time to encounter and to understand better our artistic working, as we already had some experiences to see that how we are thinking, how we can work together as artists, and what we have as experiences till now. We started to discover our artistic tools, and it was a very important process of analyzing it to see these impacts, how it is working, and through the understanding, discover new artistic tools. So the second laboratory was mainly about these artistic tools and discover them and understand better. And we tried a kind of experimental process. And the third laboratory, when we met again, we were already quite conscious about what artistic tools we want to use, or we had this like a huge toolbox, but how to create a kind of draft, a scenario that how can we easily prepare. With this artistic laboratory structure, it was a very nice wave that we had a chance to work together strongly with an international artist team. And between two laboratories during 6-7 months, we had the chance to work with our team, to share everything with our team in the national level, and also to try out what we found in the institutions we work, and also discover, and also to make some experiment work. In this process, we started the co-creation also in the national level. So in the institutions where we worked, we started to make a stronger cooperation with experts, with all the staff in the institutions, special education teachers, mental experts, psychologists, and also we invited relatives and to think together, to discuss together everything, what we find and what we tried out. And this international cooperation itself, it's really enriched our artistic language, but really the main motor was this deeper understanding and awareness of the artistic tools, what we have, what we use. And understand and analyze it. It really helped to start the way of a better consciousness of choosing these tools or invent new tools. And the co-creation process is a really strong cooperation with the staff. It was really the discussion feedbacks, or it was with the relatives to involve them also into the clown intervention, not just talking about also the relatives. And it helped a lot on the way that how to plan a dramaturgy and how to put together the different tools into a scenario. So finally, this planned scenario really gave us a stable structure, which was still super open to give enough space for the improvisation of the clown and for the encounter and for the real present encounter. During the work, during this artistic work, and when we started the cooperation process, we found that it is widening the perspective. It's not only about a kind of stronger cooperation and more discussions, but it's changing a little bit our way, because it's not a linear one way, what we discovered, but we started to think a little bit more dimension. So during the project, what we realized that learning about dementia and learning about ESD, learning all the circumstances of the institutions we are in connection and we are cooperating, a deeper understanding about the artistic tools and discovering new tools, and also, which was very interesting, to discover the possibilities of the co-creation. So all these elements was started to work for us. It was like a mapping, and we created a co-creational map, which gave us a possibility not to think only to go through one straight way, but to really have a kind of map which gives several ways to approach, and it's much better fitting to all circumstances, countries, and working possibilities, to cooperational possibilities. And comparing this with the idea of inventing one special format of clown intervention for people with dementia or children with autism, it's really turned to a wider perspective, and finally it really enriched the project results, and it really made us more and more enthusiastic during this project. So you can say that instead of creating the artistic format, we found a methodology to create special scenarios with which we can be much more flexible and we can fit much more, and we can give more appropriate answer to the changing needs, the changing circumstances. And this method has really a big impact of the artistic program work in the future. As there is one more impact in this, which is very important. We increased our awareness. So I think every member of every participant in the project could really experience that, how this increased this awareness about or the specific needs of the target groups, also the deeper understanding of causal cooperation. So working in this kind of contact with the experts, involving several different approaches and experts and the staff of the institutions, it was a big impact of our kind of work, which we still feel after finalizing a project, it is a continuation. So as a summary like this about the artistic work, and this is how it worked out finally in all the countries.
Thank you so much, Tunda. It was really great to hear from you, and you explained it beautifully. So thank you so much for sharing your experience with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I would like to invite Viltaute, who is another colleague of mine here in Vienna at Red Noses International. So a bit of background about Viltaute. Hi, Viltaute. So Viltaute has been with Red Noses for 13 years, and she initially started in Red Noses Lithuania, but now she leads the international program department at Red Noses International in Vienna. And she was co-leading the clownexus project together with Carmen, who we heard from earlier, and was responsible for the artistic laboratory process. So Viltaute is going to give an overview of the results and the clownexus website, which I'm going to share the link to down in the chat so that everyone has it and can have a little look in their own time. So Viltaute, over to you.
Thank you. I will be very short, I think, because everything was said by Carmen and Tunda in such a nice way. But one thing I really want to show you is where to find all these things that we are talking about. We did our best to kind of make a concentration and sum up everything that we did in the Clownexus web page that you see right here. It's clownexus.eu. And all these beautiful things that Tunda was presenting are here. So first of all, you can actually find all the kind of project structure and stories and adventures from our artists. Also, all the names of the artists, if you are interested meeting them or contacting them. Here you can see here the team of the project, and we are very proud to have all these people in our teams. A bit about clowning and hospital clowning, but most important, there is a co-creation map that Tunda just mentioned, and it is kind of a map that you can use in two ways. One way is kind of like a route. So there is a chronology that we propose how to use it, and you can do it the way one after the other. But also this map is rather to orient yourself and kind of understand where are you right now in your process. It's all about knowing your audiences, knowing the rules and the people and the main principles of the institutions you're working with. How to deep dive into the understanding and the knowledge and expert work with the people working in the institutions, but also people very much interested as you are all in the topics of, in this case, dementia and autism, but also you can apply this map to any art for well-being kind of project. This is also about self-reflection, about gathering knowledge, about understanding well where you are in the project, this is how to build very good cooperation among the artists, but also with other artists working in the same field and experts and the institutions, and how to build the common playground. So how to, after all the knowledge, all the expertise, all the work, you can still be very free in the art that you're doing and in the improvise in the moment when you have a good frame. So exactly what Tunde was explaining just before. So you can go through, you can click, and there are some questions you can give to yourself. There are some exercises that you can do just to kind of write things down, reflect together with us. One more thing that we gathered are artistic tools. So these are examples of different tools that we gathered throughout the project together with all the artists, clown artists, and they are divided into categories, autism, dementia, but they're very often interconnected, intersected, because it's always a lot about sensitivity, about connection, about hearing, seeing other people and their needs. And then they are divided by tools. So artistic tools that you can recognize, like movement, object manipulation, kind of creating with objects, sound, using space, music, dancing, storytelling, role-playing. So you can really filter out the tools and then read through how we applied them and get inspired. As well, you can see learning tools. These will be also mentioned in the presentations that are coming about the evaluation, but there are some interesting, inspiring ways how to reflect together with your partners and learn and gather knowledge together. It was very useful for us and just to understand better where we are in the project. And last but not least, these are many beautiful stories and case studies kind of from each country. How did they apply the clownexus method, kind of the co-creation map, the tools that we discovered? And you can really read many testimonials and kind of analysis a bit, how did we do it, so that you can have an example and inspiration for yourself. One few fun things and interesting things in this website are impact. So there are a lot of, there's a research database, there is a baseline and endline that Carmen already mentioned. There's a lot of knowledge there. So it's for you to know, but also if you talk with your partners, with your partners in the institutions, this brings a bit of a different level of conversation. Sometimes they need more scientific, evidence-based conversations with us. So you can find some things here. In this case, more to the topics of dementia and autism. And then here, if you want to see our beautiful faces and some interesting videos, you can see photo gallery or video portraits. And actually one of the video portraits you will see soon after I finish this presentation. So please go in, explore. It's a lot of information. It is quite intuitive, but it's a lot, so you don't have to read everything in one go. It's not possible. We worked a lot on this and read it a lot of times. So yeah, just go in and use this as you feel useful for you and for your future connections with your audiences. So that's it from my side, and yeah, enjoy.
Thank you, Vilta. And yeah, I would second that and encourage everyone to take a look at the clownexus website. There's a lot of super interesting information on there and it's very interactive. So yeah, do take some time to explore that after the meeting. So thank you to all of our speakers who we've just had for the overview of the project frame, the processes and the results. Before we dive into the next round on the agenda, I would love to share with you, as Vilta mentioned, one of the video portraits that were produced during the clownexus project to give the voice and the perspective of the artists that were involved and also the audiences and the caregivers. So on the clownexus website, you can find all of them. There's also a YouTube playlist. And the one I'm about to show you is from Christina, who is a clown artist with Red Noses Austria. And she tells a little bit about her journey to become a clown artist. So I'm going to share and show you this video portrait. Here we go.
I became a kindergarten teacher, and then I was in a small village working, and I saw the show of a clown, and really he put me on stage. He chose me from the audience and put me on stage. And I was very shy, and but on the other hand, I felt so privileged, and it was like a sign. I work for the Red Nose Clown Doctors Austria, I think more than 27 years meanwhile. I made clown really my life, my passion, my work. Great thing, I would say, becoming an older clown or having more experience as a clown means also I have more experience as a me. I allow myself much more to let my emotions flow during a visit, like really when I'm in the newborn baby department, and it's sometimes just so touching, and sometimes the way from laughing to crying is so close, or from being serious to cry and to laugh. So, and sometimes it's so enriching if I can just let my feelings go, because this sometimes also allow the other ones to have tears of joy, tears of sadness, tears of fear. And then of course the clown very often can transform this moment also into something easy. You only can connect if you know your weak and your strong parts very well.
So I hope you all enjoyed that, and I'd really encourage you to take a look at the rest of the videos that are on the website. They're really beautiful and all give a very different perspective of the project. So without further ado, let's jump into the next portion of our presentation, which is going to be focusing on evaluation and research, and we'll jump into the first summary of findings from the endline evaluation. So I'd love to introduce one of our next panelists, who is Irina from Triskuel, who led the final external evaluation of the clownexus project. So she evaluates international development projects in multiple thematic areas with her team at Triskuel. So Irina, are you with me? I can see you. Very good.
Great. Thank you, Mari. Yes, it was my privilege really to be one of 3 external evaluators for this project. My colleagues Ioana and Diana are not here today, but I will very briefly share some of the key evaluation results with you, and then I will, as Viltaute and Molly did, encourage you to go onto the website and find out all of the information which can be useful, hopefully, for other organizations as well. I will start to share my screen now, and hopefully you will see you will let me know if something's wrong, right?
We can see your screen, but it's in the presenter view of
It? So then let's go to the non-presenter view.
Perfect.
All right. So let's jump right in. As I said, we did the final evaluation of the project, and it was complementing a baseline evaluation that was done almost 2 years before. So it was very interesting to pick up on some of the methods that were used in the baseline, and also the data that came out of the baseline evaluation, and be able to reflect that 2 years later. We looked at the impact of the project for the whole spectrum of participants, so both organizations, artists, people with dementia, children with ASD, as well as care staff in institutions and family members. We did a lot of individual interviews, about 60 of them. We were privileged that the clown visits were still happening in most of the countries, so we were able to observe live clown visits in 13 institutions in 5 countries. And I will also mention the most significant change technique, which is a participatory way to collect stories, which we collected from caregivers and family members, and then shared them back with artists and organizations in a very beautiful exercise. So what we found, I'll not go into all of the categories of impact, but starting with how the project had an impact on the artists, I think it comes out probably much better from what Tunde was saying. The main contribution, or the main difference that clownexus made, was offering a lot of time and space for reflection and self-reflection for the artists, and a lot of time to work with the same group of beneficiaries recurrently. So this changed a lot in the ways of working. So not just in tools and skills, which Tunde already mentioned, evolved during the project, but there was also a lot of space for self-awareness for the artists during the laboratories, and also individually during visits and in reflection sessions with caregivers after the clown visits. They really enjoyed and understood the importance of this self-reflection, because it brought them a lot of confidence and feeling of understanding of the worth of what they are doing with the target groups. In terms of the impact for the target groups, these are the conclusions that were brought together by from information from our own observation, but also from interviews with artists, staff of caregiving institutions and education facilities and hospitals, and in some cases, family members. We divided them into short-term impact, which is more directly observable during the clown visit, but also there will be a longer-term impact. So what comes out very strongly is that the connection that the clowns are able to establish with people with dementia and with children with ASD is the foundation for a lot of important results. In the case of dementia, they look like reduced apathy, more joy, better focus, and definitely a lot of movement during the clown visits. For children with autism, there is less stress when they are in a hospital setting, and there is more ability to focus and connect with others through curiosity and play in classroom settings. For both groups, the biggest result that comes out is the relief of stress, and also there's an effect of social inclusion, which comes from opportunities to interact with others joyfully and in a context that brings joy both to the to people with dementia and children with ASD and their staff and relatives, because obviously they connect a lot, but oftentimes the connections are stressful or sad, and what the clowns bring is a completely different atmosphere. Now, for the long-term effects, we call them this because a lot of this is particularly based on testimonies of staff members and family members, who talk about the effects that remain with the target groups after the clown leave. And sometimes they remain for days in the room or in the institution, and sometimes they see them over months of the program running. In the case of people with dementia, the most important one is the ability to feel themselves worthy and valuable during the clown visit and in the interactions with others, and they communicate this feeling of value of self-value afterwards to staff members and to family members. Very similarly, for children with autism, there is an increase in confidence and strength, which has very much to do with the fact that clowns place themselves at the same level with the children during interaction. So they're not teachers, they're not therapists, they're just there open to play. And so because of these horizontal relationships for both groups, there is a lot of acceptance and interest manifested towards others. In the case of children, this is not just interest in the clown, but also more interest in other children around them. There's improved communication, and as I tried to explain earlier, increased self-worth and human dignity. This also translates into impact for the care staff and for the families, who often adopt some of the techniques that they saw the clown using and that they see that they work. Also, both care staff and families have easier ways to communicate with people with dementia and children with ASD, either during the visit or after the visit. For care staff in institutions, there's a nicer day at work that happens, and a relief from regular tasks, which are not always easy. There's improved communication with families, both for teachers and for caregivers in dementia homes. They share, even when the families don't participate, the staff share a lot of what is happening with the families via videos and stories afterwards. And particularly, I think what stayed with us in terms of impact for the families is that both the families of people with dementia and of children with autism are used to their interactions in the institution with their own family members being stressful, sad. There's a feeling of a burden being in the when they, a lot of times when they visit their parents in dementia homes, or in the case of parents of children with autism who go to hospitals with their children. And what the clown visits brought for them was not just joy in the moment, but also the ability to spend time with their loved ones in a setting which is hopeful and gives them pride, and not just stress. Not least, so as I said, go on the website, read the report. There's also a lot of interesting lessons learned from the co-creation techniques that were applied in the 6 countries. And there's also interesting findings about how this project has contributed and can still contribute to raising awareness about arts for health. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much, Irina. Great to hear about the impact of the clownexus project. So now, without further ado, I'll introduce our next speaker. So we have Charlotte, who will present the results of a research study that took place as part of the clownexus project. Charlotte is a clown and researcher, and she'll discuss with us the European participative action research of the project, which was done by a few of the project partners in cooperation with the Leiden Academy. So Charlotte, welcome to you. I will hand over, turn off my camera, and you can take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for all the other inspirational talks until now. I'm really impressed about the amount of quality and learning there has been until now. I hope with doing this, my presentation is shared with you. Is that correct?
Yep, we can see it. Looks great.
Yes, I'm not sure. Yes, I will leave it this way. Then I can take off. If I now have to look for dia shows and so on, I will leave it this way. Okay, I will tell you in short about our research project, which was a little different from the other projects because it did not have an artistic view on our work, but more a broader scale. And I will tell you about that later. We did, together with quite some people in the Netherlands, Austria, and Germany, participative action research. And the theme was, how can we work together with all the groups surrounding the people with dementia on the quality of life for these people with dementia? What is needed? And this was our research question. How can we embed an art intervention such as Cliniclowns or care clowns in care organizations where people with dementia live, so that together we achieve a better quality of life? So what you see is that we are looking now into the field of working together with people in the care institution. We are not zooming into the effects of our work on people with dementia, but much more on what does it do to the environment when you put in an art intervention? What happens, what works, and where can we do it in a better way than we did until now? We did understand while we were trying to find the right question that misunderstanding about clown work or art interventions can influence the workspace of care staff in a way, and in the other side, the space to play for clowns. So if you don't understand each other's work and job, and you have the same environment where you do your work, this can influence in a positive and in maybe negative way how you cooperate, what kind of space is what is the word? Misunderstanding about clown work and art interventions influences the workspace of the care staff and the space to play for clowns. What is happening between all these group of people within the same environment? And therefore it does have impact on the quality of life of people with dementia. I will talk about it later a little more. We used participative action research. This is research into practices. How do we work together? What quality is manifested in this working together? And how can we learn from our research? So it was not so much about proving that our work works. It was much more about improving. What actually do we do? Can we have a look at it from different perspectives? And can we look what kind of subjects we need to address to make things better? It was research with everybody who is related to the question being explored. So we talked with family members, with well-care staff, with care staff, with clowns and researchers. And in this research evolving during meetings, we made ourselves. There was an individual learning curve, and there was a collective action learning curve. This all came from Leiden Academy. It's an institute. They do a lot of research into art interventions for people with elderly people, and they are specialists in participative action research. Now, the fun thing is that participative action research is very much similar to what we as clowns do. So we are almost complementary fields. It's all about gathering around a theme with a group of people, and doing that, you need safety in these relationships, because when we feel safe, we are open to cooperate and learn. It's very much about doing together and seducing all the people surrounding the subject in gaining interest in the subject, doing things in their own practice to find out little experiments and so on. It's very much focused on the process. It is about improvisation. We both want to make care a better place for people. And we have a methodology which looks very similar. The funny thing is that in PAR, they call it ethics, ethic rules, and we call it methodology. So, but there are very clear acquaintances, which was really nice to discover. The main insight we gained in this research is that the context in which we do our job has more influence on how we can do our clown play and on the daily practice of the care staff, and maybe often more than we realize. To embed an art intervention as clown work in care needs more than good clown play. It needs relational work on different levels. Safety and tuning in this bigger context, dus not only safety and tuning in with the audience, with the target group, but also with people in care, with the place where we do it, with the family members. Safety and tuning in is also at these levels a key element towards impact of our activity. What we met in our meetings is that sometimes you can see there is an unintentional negative effect of putting an art intervention into a care context. And that is when there is no understanding by the different professionals you meet on this floor of play, of the skills that are needed and the intentions that the artist have towards the target group. And this understanding among care staff or family members can lead to negative emotions, irritation, image building, which is not very effective. And this has influence on how people on the work floor feel what they can do when the clown visit is there, how free they can feel, and for the family members, how trustful or trustworthy clown visits are, in their opinion, when they don't know the skills and intentions of the professional. Here you see that the working place, the professionals in care, and a play space we create are not immediately clicked together. So if you don't understand each other, they can bump into each other, and then you have resistance. And understanding the basics of this resistance is very valuable, because then you can address it. I will say one clear example. In one of our locations, the care staff said between themselves and towards some others in the organization, I don't like clown play. They come in, they make a lot of mess in my work environment, and then they leave, and I have to deal with the mess. A restlessness for the people living there, for example, in the people living there. Now, because we now could listen to it, we could go into dialogue, and we could understand that their vision is not really maybe out of their experience. It's much more really out of their misunderstanding of the work of clowns and the intentions. So if you have a dialogue about that, you can in progress work together, and these misunderstandings then fade out. So this is a bigger impact through having new eyes. So looking in a new way to our work. And in this way, it's not only looking at our work from the artistic point of view or from the target group point of view, but also from the point of view of how is it when you do an art intervention in an existing context? What happens and how can we deal with this in a better way? Leiden Academy advised us to look into boundary work. Boundary work is a way to have different professionals being in communication with each other about their professionals, about the way they divide, for example, space among them, and in that way gain more insight in each other's jobs and then grow in quality together in what you can achieve on the working space. Boundary work you can do on different levels, and this is very interesting for us, I think. On a personal level, you can work around the question like, why are you so resistant towards our activity? Can we have a conversation? What do you need? What do I need? Relational and personal is then that somebody else has to, or we should be able to learn from experience. How can I look at this in a different way? Relational is that you do it together. I see Molly, I see you. Am I too long already?
If you could wrap up soonish,
Yes.
Charlotte, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
It's super
Okay.
interesting. We'd love to hear
Yeah.
it, but I just don't want to run into anybody else's time too much.
Yeah. I will jump into it. Microsystem, you can look with each other. What can we do on the personal level? What do you need to feel safe when I am around? What can you do in relationships? What do we need to organize the work, both our work together so that it will contribute to quality of life? But you can also look at the meso system, and that is where can we have influence on within our organization on other levels than only the artistic and the clown level, but more in how do we keep relationships with organization? What is needed for that? So that's the meso system where you can look for intervention to better implement clown work into reality. And then you can, the macro level, you can look at how do we think about care? Are we part of humanizing care? What is the image of clowns work? Can we use that as an instrument of making progression? People knowing our intentions and professionalism better. And what interventions can you do on these different scales so that in the end, in the microsystem, the clown play has a better place and we can make more impact. Punt. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Charlotte, and sorry to rush you through the end because it was really interesting and I know we were all really enjoying listening to you. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing, and it was great to hear from your experience as a clown artist also. So thanks a lot. Feel free to turn off your screen share, Charlotte, and then we'll jump on to the next portion. Great, thank you. So now we have hit over our halfway mark. Time flies when you're having fun. So let's do a little temperature check for everybody. Please go ahead and type in the chat any impressions that you have so far. How are you feeling at this point of the presentation? You can go ahead and use an emoji if you would like. Go ahead and share some of your thoughts and feelings in the chat. We have some nice love emojis going on in there. That's great to see. And just a reminder to everyone, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So feel free to type some questions in the chat, not the Q&A function. We're focusing everything on the chat, so everything's in one place. So please feel free to pop your questions in there. Great, good to see some positive feedback coming in. So now I'm going to jump right into our panel discussion, which I'm going to hand over to Viltaute, who's going to moderate the panel for us and introduce the panelists. So Viltaute, are you with me?
I am. Well, before we introduce the panelists, I would really love to share with all of you a bit, again, a vibe, a feeling of the project that we experienced, and also present one of the results of the project. We created a short documentary movie that is called This Is Where We Meet. It's done by Lithuanian movie agency Nara, and you can see the trailer, and coming soon to your town as well later at some point, I guess.
What I love in clown, that you can turn everything upside down. That clown never sees things like the certain things how they are, but they can be whatever, and they can be like completely new universe.
Clowning have like this powerful thing of allowing you to play, but it's not playing as a game, it's playing as a mood. No, it's playing as a way of understanding life.
Clown give a lot of things for personal life, and the first thing which came into my mind, how I face with the challenges, how I can accept the things which is happening around me, how can accept my failures, and how I start again the things.
And I would like to invite now on screen Renata. She's a teacher in Vilnius, Lithuania, in an education center for children with multiple disabilities. She's working for 14 years now with children with autism and other learning and intellectual disorders. So welcome, Renata. I would like also to invite Indrė, who is an artistic director of Lithuanian Red Noses, Raudonos Nosys. She's working as a clown for 11 years now, and she was a part of the autism group in this project. She's a practitioner and worked as a clown, but also as a performing artist in different contexts with children with disabilities. Another person I would like to invite is Elina, who is a clown in Helsinki for 15 years now, and she was participating in clownexus, also in autism group. She's working in the new children's hospital in Helsinki with her colleague Juna, and is here to share her experience with us. And last but not least, Andrea, who is a clown in Piros or Hungary. She's 20 years a clown in Pécs, also stage clowning and inventing new formats as well as I know, and working as a mental health professional for the last 9 years in resident home and working mostly with residents with dementia. I would like to start with Indrė and Renata, and just for you to know, Renata will speak Lithuanian, but I will translate because I understand Lithuanian. And I asked each of them kind of to present a bit their experiences with the project. And they have 5 minutes, 7 minutes to present this to you first, and then we go into the questions. So Renata, maybe you can start. Prašau.
Ačiū. Girdisi?
Taip. We hear her, yes.
Nes turėjau didelių problemų, kol prisijungiau dabar ką tik, tai todėl ir klausiu.
Okay, she had some problems connecting. So maybe gal jūs galėtumėt papasakoti apie savo patirtį?
Okay. Okay. Tai sveiki visi. Hello everyone. My English is not very good when I talk about my job, okay? Tai norėčiau pradėti, okay? We'll start. Taigi, kaip mes draugavome su klounais?
So this is how we were friends with clowns.
Pirmojo susitikimo metu kruopščiai aptariam kiekvieno vaiko ypatumus, kas patinka, kas nepatinka, kodėl ir panašiai.
So on our first meeting, what we did, we really discussed every child and their specialties, what they like, what they don't like, what is special about them, and what as a person, as an individual.
Tuomet suderinom susitikimų laiką, tai buvo vienas kartas per savaitę ir po kiekvieno apsilankymo labai detaliai aptarėme kiekvieną veiklos niuansą.
We agreed on the regularity of the visits. It was once a week, and every time after each visit, we very detailedly discussed each aspect of the visit, what happened in that visit.
Visuose klounų užsiėmimuose dalyvavome visa komanda. Aš mokytoja, 2 klasės padėjėjai ir vaikai.
And in each visit, in each activity, the whole team participated. So me as a teacher, 2 teachers, so kind of helpers or supporters, and the whole class, the whole children group.
Pasitarę su klounais gavome leidimus filmuoti, fotografuoti ir ta visa surinkta gražia medžiaga dalinamės su mokinių tėvais ir taip gavome grįžtamąjį ryšį iš tėvų.
And we agreed with clowns that we can document and film all the activities, and so we could share the process with children's parents, and they could know what is happening in the class.
Kitaip tariant, vyko glaudus bendradarbiavimas tarp vaikų, tėvų ir klounų.
So to summarize, it was a very close cooperation between teachers, parents, and clowns.
Dabar apie vaikus.
Now about children.
Vaikai labai laukdavo kiekvieno susitikimo su klounais.
All the children were waiting for the meeting with the clowns.
Visi vaikai turi savo struktūruotą dienotvarkę ir kai joje pamatydavo klounų simboliuką, jie tiesiog pradėdavo išreikšti savo emocijas ir garsais, ir vaizdu, ir žodžiais kai kurie.
Each child has its structured kind of schedule of the day, and when they would see the symbol of a clown in their schedule for the day, they were always expressing their emotions with their sounds, with their images, with their body expressions.
Vaikai pradėjo tiesiog tikslingai laukti kiekvieno pirmadienio ir tų klounų apsilankymo, o tai yra labai didžiulis pasiekimas jiems, nes jie tai suprato, kad jiems tai yra svarbu.
So children really started waiting forward for clowns to arrive each Monday. It was a big highlight for them, and it's a big achievement because it gave structure and it was important in their structure.
Net ir tie mokiniai, kurie komunikuoja minimaliai, prieidavo prie lentos, rodydavo pirštų į simbolį ir viltingomis akimis, net nereikėdavo žodžių, jie klausdavo manęs, ar ateis šiandien, ar bus, ar tikrai.
And even the children who were rather non-verbal, they could express their anticipation and showing with a finger and saying, hey, they're coming to me. Are they really coming today to me, for me?
Vaikai kiekvieno klounų apsilankymo metu pirmiausiai labai daug ir nuoširdžiai prisijuokdavo ir kiekvienas gaudavo asmeninį klounų dėmesį per savo komunikavimo suvokimo prizmę.
And first of all the children had a lot of good laugh during these visits, and they could express their emotions and their joy in their way of communication.
Ir šiaip bet kokioje veikloje pastebėjau, kad vaikai bando atkartoti tai, ką daro klounai. Jie išmoko naujų dalykų, naujų komunikavimo būdų ir kažkokių tai manipuliavimų su daiktais.
And I can notice that children are kind of doing the same what the clowns were doing, kind of mimicking them and learning some new communication ways in their kind of communication vocabulary, even, for example, manipulating objects in the way that clowns are doing when they have their visits.
Manau, kad klounai išlaisvino vaikų emocijas, ko pasekoje jie tapo laisvesni, pradėjo daugiau komunikuoti būtent tarpusavyje, o autistiškiams vaikams yra pakankamai sudėtingas uždavinys komunikuoti tarpusavyje.
And I think they learned some new emotions, so new expressions that help them communicate with each other better, which is always a challenge for an autistic child.
Ir taip pat labai pagerėjo mokinių dėmesio sutelkimas ir išlaikymas.
And I can notice that the focus of the students became better, like keeping the focus during the day.
Reikšmingiausia buvo tai, kad klounai sugebėjo pamatyti kiekvieną vaiką ir jo ypatumus ir rado priėjimą prie kiekvieno vaiko asmeniškai.
Important part was that clowns had a way to reach and have a personal connection with each child and find the way how to communicate in the way they needed.
Vaikai tapo kūrėjais ir kai iš vieno judesio klounai sukurdavo šokius, dainas ir žaidimus, kiekvienas vaikas pasijuto tiesiog asmeniškai svarbus toje veikloje.
Each child became a creator of the activity, and while clowns were creating dances and songs and activities, they could really participate and add their own things into it.
Ir dabar tokia galbūt paskutinis momentas, ko vaikai mokina mane kaip specialistė.
So one of the last things I want to share is what do the children teach me as an education specialist?
Tai kiekviena diena mums komandai kelia iššūkius ir iš kurių mes mokomės visi kartu. Pavyzdžiui, kiekvieną dieną esu naujų metodų ieškojimo kelyje.
So each day has its own challenges and each day is different. So I am always on the road of finding new methods how to work with my children.
Norint pasiekti išsikeltus tikslus, reikia surasti tinkamus metodus, ugdymo būdus ir teisingai pritaikyti ugdymo turinį ir parinkti priemonės.
So you have to be very flexible to choosing the right methods, the right ways, the right content for the education to happen.
Taigi, kas tinka vienam, tai nebūtinai tiks kitam ir jeigu vakar tiko, tai šiandien gali jau ir nebetikti. Tai taip, kiekvieną dieną jie mane ir moko.
So what works for one child might not work for the other, and what worked today for this child might not work tomorrow for the same child. So it is constant learning how to adapt and how to find new methods.
Moko nepasiduoti, atkakliai siekti tikslo, nuolat tobulėti ir viską žiūrėti paprasčiau ir su šypsena.
And it teaches me to always don't give up, have a clear goals, try to reach them and do it with a smile and don't take it too seriously.
Ir būtent po tų klounų apsilankymų aš atsakiau savo į klausimą, kokia yra aukščiausia pedagoginio meistriškumo viršūnė.
And I have an answer to a question, what is the highest point of mastery of education?
Dirbant būtent su autistiškais vaikais.
For the education with autistic children.
kai tu paėmęs skarelę, užsidedi ją savo ant galvos ir suvaidini taip, kad vaikams, kad jie suprastų, kad tu esi karalius, o ta skarelė yra prabangiausia karūna. Ir tai pavyksta tik tada, kai tu 100% patikėsi pirmiausiai pats.
So when you take a scarf and you put it on your head and you tell children that you are a king, and children see the crown and see that you are a king, you actually have to 100% believe yourself that you are a king with the crown. And that's why and when it works.
Taigi nenustokime tikėti tais stebuklais ir džiaukimės mažais dalykais, nes manau, kad iš mažų dalykų susideda laimingo gyvenimo formulė. Tai pozityvus požiūris, tave supantys žmonės, noras dalinti su kitais ir grįžtamasis ryšys.
So the most important thing is to believe in small things and in the goals, be positive and share it with others and have feedback with these people. Yeah. Ačiū labai, Renata. We have one question for Renata before we proceed, because Renata has to leave sooner than we all. So there are some questions, šiek tiek klausimų. What is the most challenging aspect of interacting with children with ASD? As it is usually human interaction that is very difficult for them. Tai kas yra didžiausias iššūkis bendraujant su vaikais, autistiškais vaikais? It's a broad question.
Aš manau, kad yra ryšys, tai yra priėjimas prie kiekvieno vaiko pagal jo komunikavimo prizmę. Jeigu tai atrandi ir esi jam priimtinas, tuomet viskas pavyksta.
There is always a way to connect. You just need to find the way how to do it, the way of connection. And when you find the connection, it's not difficult at all. Yeah.
Vieno atsakymo nėra.
There is no one question. It depends. Ačiū labai, Renata. Thank you, Renata. I know that you have to leave. So have a great day and keep up with the great job that you do.
Bye,
it's
bye.
Very inspiring. Ciao.
Thank you.
Indrė, can you continue?
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to be here and to see some faces I knew and we worked together. And teacher Renata, I'm really so grateful because we had this journey in Clownexus together and she helped us a lot. So now by listening all these things one more time, I'm started to be a little bit emotional because all memories and all stories are coming to my head. And I'm thinking what else I could add because she told everything really very nice. I just will come back a little bit to the very beginning because before Clownexus project, we had this experience working with autistic kids in hospitals. So that's why we decided that, okay, maybe during this project, we will be more focused on working with the groups. And it sounded as a challenge because there is a sentence, if you know one autistic child, you know one autistic child. And we thought, okay, let's do it. And I saw that there was a question, how many clowns were during the visits. So in these 3 years, we worked with 2 groups of kids. And in one group, it was about 8, 9 kids in the classroom. And we were 2 clowns who are coming. So a little bit how we worked and about the structure, because structure and routine really can help for those kids. So as Renata mentioned, we had a meeting before the visits with the teacher to get some knowledge about every kid. And from a clown perspective, what we did, we created little videos and we sent these videos to the kids before the visits. So already before Monday, they knew already who will come, the name of the clowns, what suitcase, that orange suitcase we will bring. And the first time we came in the classroom, I remember one kid was like, oh, showing with the finger to our orange suitcase. So it worked really nice. And also they had agenda on the wall, and we made picture of clowns, and it was put it in the agenda. And this is it what Renata was telling, that they were looking and when the clowns will come. So really these steps before visit was really helping. And because we were 2 clowns and working with the group, we had some structure. And in these 3 years, we worked it quite well, I think. And every time when we went to the classroom, I always was the first clown who will check all these kids, because, you know, everyone is different. So we need a time to see, okay, who is here. And my partner, Žemelytė, he was always holding the frame and the story, because we tried to build one story with some different little topics, but still to have some line of our visit. And it was all the time, it was about 40-45 minutes. So I always had possibility to check everyone and to see, okay, how we are today. And I think this is very important, because we're talking a lot about connection. And the lectures we had, I remember the teachers were saying, if you will find the way to get connection, then you can do everything. And for us as a clowns, it was one of the most important things. And for me, it's always better to talk through the stories. So I remember one of the visits, first visit with one group, we came and I had this magical suitcase. I was coming to the kids, and they stopped to one girl. I was looking at her and she was like, oh, and that's it. And I thought, this is the moment I got permission to be with those kids. I can be here in the classroom and I have connection. And if I have connection, I just need to find 10 more connections with each other. But when I have it, then we can create things, then we can dance, then we can run, then we can laugh. And it's very important. And also in this work with the groups, it's very important to have a connection with the teachers, because after every visit, we had talks. And sometimes as a clowns, we also got some challenges. I remember Renata was asking, maybe you can do something more interactive, because they're always sitting. And for them, it's hard to stand up and to do something. And that, it's a good idea. So next time we did, and for the kids and for ourselves, little challenges, one step forward. And in the end, we were all like dancing. So they were standing. It's something new for them. They developed themselves. So it was very nice and good combination. And a little bit about the teachers, I think for them, it's also very important when the clowns are coming to feel safe and to feel relaxed, not to be responsible for the kids, that they would behave good and, you know, to be nice audience for the clowns. Because as a clowns, we're coming with open heart. We don't have any, I don't know, wish that kids should do something. No, we're open. And I remember also one story we came, and one boy, he was running all the time, running. And I saw the teacher is a little bit, please sit. And I know she wants to help us. And we said, it's okay, just relax. And I was starting to running this mirroring technique of working with autistic kids. And we started running together. He was like looking at me a little bit. Then I took his hand. We started moving, and then we started to dance. And then second time, third time, we're coming. The boy is catching my hand and turning me around. So in the visits, it's important for teachers to feel good and safe. For the kids, it's very important to feel safe, and they need to know that they can be as they are. And our task is to work much more on clown antennas, to see more, to understand better, and it's important how close you can go, how loud you can be, how small you should be. This all things you need to be very careful. And I know that the time is running, a lot of things to tell, but maybe I will stop here, and if what some questions.
Thank you, Indra.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one last thing, this project gave very nice start for our new performance we are creating for autistic kids, and we are in the process. And yeah, we will continue by showing some performances for these kids. So thank you for this.
Very cool, very cool. Well, Elina had similar experience, but a bit different, because she was working in the hospital rather than in education. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about the hospital work with children and what did you do as a clown?
Yes, hello everyone, and greetings from Finland. Yes, I'm gonna concentrate on Helsinki story because in Finland we had this autism work in other cities also, but this is from Helsinki. And in Helsinki New Children's Hospital there is this special ward or department in hospital, which is they are specialized for to perform diagnostic examinations for children with ASD or some other difficulties or features, ASD features or something. We've been visiting this ward for maybe 10 years, but never really dived into the work they are doing there. And this Clown Nexus opened this ward for us, and the medical staff and the nurses are always been really nice and interested in clown work, but when we asked if they wanted to join us with this Clown Nexus, they were yes, please come here, and they really opened their work for us, and they invited me and my colleague to observe the whole process. It's all usually a 3 days process with one kid, one family, usually one child and 1 or 2 parents comes for the 3 days period, and there are different kinds of tests. There are like speech therapists tests and occupational therapist tests and doctors' examinations and interviews, and nurses also carry out some tests, and so it's quite stressful 3 days for a child to come into a really new place, and they maybe never been there before and be under, examinations and observation and many adults around you. And so we went there and observed a 3 days period, and from the viewpoint of a child. So we went there when they came in, and as persons, not clowns. So we only observed first, and after that 3 days we got together with the medical staff and started to think that what would be the best time and best place for a clown to participate in this testing period. And then we came to this conclusion that because these kids, usually they kids have this kind of different behavior or something, so they need more time. They need more time to get know to new people and new persons and adjust in adapt in new places, and so the nurses invited us to come there and work like pairs to co-workers to these nurses, like so it was really amazing place an overview for the whole world, the work they do there. And so me as a clown went there before the family comes in, and we talk with the nurse, and she tells me about this child and the situation of the family and everything. And then we go down to the door and we wait for the family, and then we start by, saying hello and making friends from the beginning when they come in the first day. And then we are accompanying the child and the family throughout the whole 3 days until the moment of goodbye. And it was a really amazing opportunity to be in that role for these kids. We were like a personal support team for each child, and that's how the work, clownexus work, happened in Helsinki.
And I would like to also ask Molly, because she's a master of ceremony, to show a video, because we actually invited Nurse Anna to this event, but she's super busy because they are all super busy people. But we have a little testimonial from her. It's a short, and I think it's nice to share. So just enjoy this.
Klounit on ihania siinä, että miten he osaa ammattilaisilla tavallaan. He on tosi visuaalisia ja he laulaa, pitää erilaisia ääniä. Heillä on usein kiinnostavia esineitä, vaikka saippuakuplia mukana. Että heillä on tämmöisiä asioita, mistä lapset pystyy tai osaa kiinnostua. Eli tavallaan lähestyvät semmoisilla asioilla, jotka lapsille on nautinnollisia ja mielenkiintoisia. Sen lisäksi nämä klounit on ihan tosi sensitiivisiä siinä, miten he itse säätelee sitä etäisyyttä ja läheisyyttä sen lapsen kanssa. Miten he huomaa lapsensa lapsen elekielestä tai olemisesta sen, että mihin lapsi reagoi ja mikä tuo häntä lähemmästä, mikä työntää häntä pois. Ja he kestää tosi hyvin sitä, että lapsi tarvitsee aikaa tai etäisyyttä, ja he ei lähde siitä tavallaan tarjoamasta sitä omaa vuorovaikutusaloitettaan pois, että vaikka lapsi kääntyisi muualle ja 3 metrin päästä kiinnostuisi ja välillä seuraisi heitä. Et se on myös tosi ihanaa lapselle, että jollakulla riittää heitä kohtaan niin paljon semmoista herkkää kiinnostusta. Ei päälle tulevaa, mutta semmoista kuulostelevaa ja tavallaan tosi tarjoavaa kontaktia. Niin se on ihana nähdä, miten lapsi kiinnostuu siitä. Ja hänen tapansa olla kontaktissa tulee tosi hyvin huomioiduksi clownin kanssa, Sairaalaklovnin kanssa. Kun sä pystyt tarkkailemaan kun sä pystyt tarkkailemaan sen vuorovaikutuksen kumpaakin osapuolta, mitä Sairaalaklovni tekee ja mitä lapsi reagoi tai mitä lapsi tekee ja miten hän reagoi, niin siinä saa paljon enemmän tietoa lapsen vuorovaikutustaidoista, kommunikointitaidoista ja sitten ehkä myös semmoisista jäljittelytaidoista, mikä on myös yksi vuorovaikutuksen ydintaito, että mitä itse ei tulisi kokeilleeksikaan, koska mulla on rajattu aika käytössäni ja mun täytyy tietyt testit tehdä, niin sitten Sairaalaklovni saattaakin nimenomaan jollain semmoisella niin kiinnostavalla asialla aloittaa sen, että jos lapsi on kiinnostunut ja saakin lapsen jäljittelemään vaikka omaa toimintaansa, mikä mulle, että okei, toi olisikin ollut hänelle, että hän osaa jäljitellä, kun on noin kiinnostava asia. Että mä toivoisin jotenkin ylipäänsä näillä lapsilla sitä, että he ei olisi kuntoutuksen kohteita tai tekemisen kohteita, vaan että jotenkin heille luotaisiin myös joka päivä niitä tilanteita tavallaan olla niitä, jotka tuo siihen, antaakin sulle. Että sä olet tavallaan semmoisia tilanteita, mistä voi näyttää tai osoittaa, että vitsi, ihanaa kun just sä oot olemassa tai ihanaa just kun sä oot tässä mun kanssa tai kiitos kun sä annat tän mulle. Asenne jotenkin siihen, että sä annat mulle tosi paljon, niin se on mun mielestä semmoinen, mikä on joka ihmisen ihmisoikeus, tuntee itsensä antoisaksi ihmiseksi.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful work, and it's so similar and different from what Indrė and Renata was telling us. So it's very beautiful story. I'm very aware that we are running a bit out of time. So everyone who has a chance to stay a little later, we will go like 10 minutes maximum over. But if you are leaving on time, this record will be shared. Therefore, you can see the last 10 minutes if you really want it. So don't worry, but please stay around, because now we have a wonderful Andrea from Hungary, and she will talk a bit more about working with dementia. And this was a very important part as well of our project. And we were talking a lot about stages of dementia and this kind of moments where the consciousness somehow and perception is blurring or fading away slowly. So this was a big topic for us, grief and this memories and storytelling. So what can you tell us about your experiences, Andrea, in this project?
My experience was with this, which was really connected with clownexus, that how we can get connection with the person who really start to lose the cognitive skills, because we start to feel that we have to work differently with the people who live with dementia, with the early stage, in a middle stage, and in a third stage, when they are really start to be more express themselves with the feelings, with the faces, not with the verbal things, and how we have to change the working methods. Because when we go in the middle stage, we saw that how the people, they don't like anymore the slapstick, they don't like anymore if they think that we think about them like children. So we went a little bit more for the harmony, and even how we go deeper to dementia, we had to find a way how we really get connected with them. And it was the really big something for me as a clown from Nexus, how I get a lot of impulse and a lot of help to find this way, because we really can connect it with the senses, with the emotional, because the emotions are there, the person are there somewhere inside, and we really have to go inside their bubbles, and we can connect it inside their world. And after, when we have this connection, we can lead them outside again to the bigger world and play there. And I wrote a lot of things, and for myself, but now I see the time is not so much. And it's also really important to know the person, know about the person. This is why we start to do interviews with the relatives or the staffs that we know more, because we see that how somehow they are in a situation in an elderly home where they cannot show themselves, or not really, the people are not really interested in who they are, who they were before, but this person is inside still. And the clown has a possibility to be there for this person and to play with this person and take out emotions and memories and really take back something that they had in a life before, and give back the dignity of them with it. So it's really nice how we, through the games, through the joy, through the playfulness, through the senses, we reach the person inside, because the dementia, like everything, it's really personal thing. This was really important. This is that you think that I
So maybe would like to show the video that we have from colleagues from Croatia, also to a bit illustrate the work that we did, that I think Andrea also can recognize from her work. And then we will go to the questions, and then we wrap up, okay?
My mother's name is Milka, like chocolate. My mom is here in this nursing home for almost 2 years. It was summer, we were in the summer house, and my mother had some attack in the head, and she forgot who she is, who am I. She called me with another names, and we called the ambulance, and she went to the hospital, and they diagnosed the Alzheimer's disease. And the doctor called me, and he said she can't be alone anymore, so you have to put her somewhere, or you have to find someone to be with her for 24 hours. She's different, she's calmer, she's not so much in the mood every day. But with me, with emotions, I think that it's the same. She recognized me and she gave me a hug, she gave me a kiss. First time I met clowns a long time ago. They were dancing, they were laughing and making people happy. When I saw my mother, she was dancing and she was laughing and she was like hands in the air. I was very happy. For the people who are alone here, maybe they don't have so much interaction. You give them joy, and they're different because they don't think, you know, when they are alone, they just sit, maybe watch TV, they do something, or, you know, but they are down with the emotions, with their mood. But when the clowns are there, it's different, you know. They're laughing, they're interactive, they're singing, dancing, they're clapping with the hands, so it's very nice.
Yes, so thank you everyone for the great job that you do. Molly, do we have some questions?
They cannot laugh easily,
Oh, sorry,
even when
Molly.
they
Was talking to me there. Yes, we do have some questions. Thank you everyone for sharing. So I will fire some questions away, and anyone feel free to just chime in. So what were some of your concerns or fears before starting to work with people with dementia and children on the autism spectrum? Does anyone have anything that they can share with us?
I can't. Of course, I think for me the most biggest question was, will I find the right contact? And because I was working with autistic kids, and because mostly of them with whom we work, they are not talking. It was, and this body language is very important to understand and to read. And I was a little bit, okay, if what I will miss something, if I will don't understand what they want to tell me and to show me. But when we started to work little by little, I felt relieved, because everything is important, but you just need to give a time. And also one example, we came to the classroom and one boy was sitting under the table, and we were trying to say hello, and for some who allowed it us, we wanted to give 5. And we wanted to come to him, but he was doing hand moves. And of course, it was clear sign that, okay, not today. So, but all the time, you know, we were feeling that he is here. So one day we didn't do anything. Second day, we didn't do anything, especially for him, but in mind with him. And on third day, he was from under the table, he was near the table. Next time he was sitting on the table, and on the last day he was sitting on the table and giving 5. So for me it was a lesson, just give time. And of course we had this possibility to have a few visits in a row, and sometimes we just have one day. And what lesson I got, that it is like this, maybe one day it will work, maybe it will work after 10 days. Every kid has their own time, so just you need to wait a little bit. So this connection moment and body language was sometimes really something, because in the last visit we had the second group, we were dancing, it was final visit, and one boy, he was very strong and he liked to touch and to hold, and he bit me in my cheek. And if before the project or in the beginning of the working with autistic kid, I would get this sign of body language, bit me, maybe I would like something. But after this knowledge I already have, I understood that this is language of love from him to the clowns, because he need to touch. And this bit, he was like, I love you. And it was so nice. And for myself, not to be afraid anymore, because it's important, and for the clowns to be relaxed, to trust in ourselves, to go, because every second can be something, beating, I don't know, maybe touching very hard. So you need to be prepared and not to be afraid of it by yourself.
Lovely story. Thank you for sharing. And maybe time for one or two more questions. We're having quite a few queries about whether we'll share the recording of the meeting afterwards. We're going to distribute it to everybody that registered for the event via email. And once we've agreed with our panelists and presenters, potentially we'll also put it on the Clown Nexus website, so it's available to download, but definitely you'll receive it via email. And one more question before we run out of time. Are there any thoughts on how to bring and teach the contents and skills of clownexus into different healthcare clowning countries? Yes, Viltaute, go for it.
I think what we want to offer as the consortium kind of this project is our expertise and being available for consultation. It's really, there are a lot of things on the website, but if you need someone live, you can always find them through us and kind of agree on the way we can cooperate more in the one-on-one or like teachings opportunities or something like this. So if you see something that you feel resonant, or you also, all the experts, evaluators, Charlotte, researchers, you know, like they're all working in this sphere, they're interested to share all these knowledge. So it's really possible to find these people through us, I think.
Thanks, Viltaute. We've got a lot of positive feedback in the chat, also saying how touching everything's been, how interesting, and a lot of appreciation for our speakers and everybody who presented and shared their experience. So yeah, nearly running out of time. Well, we've already run out of time, but we're almost at the very end of our limit. So I'd like to take out the chance to thank everybody who joined us, everybody who's still with us, even though we're running a little bit over, and to everybody who was involved with the project in any way, shape or form. It's been a wonderful experience, and to learn so much about it today with everyone has really been a pleasure as well. Thank you for having me as your host. I invite you once again to check out the clownexus website, where you can find so many resources, all of the video portraits, all of the other content that we shared today, plus much, much more. So yeah, that's it from us. As I said, we'll share the recording via email, and yeah, just invite you to keep engaging with clownexus whenever it pops up on your social media or anywhere else like that. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll be in touch with the recording. Have a great afternoon, everybody.